From the studios in the wrestling capital of the South, please welcome to another edition of the BengeBuster Show.
WRESTLECADE weekend returns to Winston-Salem, November 29th, 30th, and December 1st. Meet your favorite wrestling stars. Experience live wrestling events all 3 days. Shop for your favorite wrestling merch and more. Join us for family-friendly fun for wrestling fans of all eras during WRESTLECADE weekend, November 29th, 30th, and December 1st. All goes down at the Benton Convention Center in Winston-Salem. Tickets and info at WRESTLECADE.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the BengeBuster Show. I am so excited about this week's episode. Me and the Blaze man sat down and talked to one of the legends in this great sport of pro wrestling, former member of the NWO and huge New Japan Pro Wrestling star. I'm talking about none other than Scott Flash Norton. We're going to have him on the show today as we talk to him about his great wrestling career, and Scott is going to talk to us about the upcoming WRESTLECADE weekend and about all the things that he's going to be doing there and how excited he is to be on WRESTLECADE. It's going to be a huge event. You don't want to miss it. Like we've talked about week after week, you definitely want to get your tickets now. Don't wait till the day of the show or the couple of days before the show because you're probably not going to get a ticket. So make sure that if you're wanting to go to WRESTLECADE, and who wouldn't want to go to WRESTLECADE? I mean, it's a huge event. 3 days, you get to meet your favorite wrestlers, hang out with them, possibly have breakfast, dinner, learn some stuff about them that you probably didn't know. But the only way to do that, fans, is to buy your ticket and come to WRESTLECADE. And me and the Blaze man are going to tell you more about that later on in the show. But right now, without any further ado, we're going to bring on the member of the NWO, Scott Flash Norton.
This is Scott Norton, NWO. You're listening to the Blaze and BengeBuster Show with Blaze and Tony.
All right, fans, we're back on the BengeBuster Show with our special guest, Scott Flash Norton. Scott, how are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. Everything's just rolling good right now, brother.
Scott, it's good to hear from you, man. It's Tim Blaze here. Thank you so much again for being on the show. We appreciate that. And we just wanted to get a little insight because, of course, you're coming to WRESTLECADE November 29th, 30th, and the 1st. And we're just proud to have you there, have your book there. But today, you know, being on the BengeBuster Show, I think the fans would like to get a little taste of the personal side of Scott Flash Norton. Again, the NWO run that you had and the Japanese run that was so phenomenal. And, of course, lastly, talk about that great book that you autographed for me and sent to me a couple of months ago. I really enjoyed that, and I've actually started over on it again. So anything I can do to help. Yeah, I've actually let somebody borrow it and had to get it back the week later because I just didn't want it out of my hands that long. But, Scott, again, it's just so glad to have you here. Again, thank you so much. So, Tony, did you have something to ask about his early career that we could sort of get this going a little bit?
Yeah, Scott. I was reading where you actually started out as doing arm wrestling. Is that correct?
Yeah, you know, there's some arm wrestling goes way back in my life. I actually started arm wrestling in 7th grade with a guy I mentioned in my book quite a bit. Me and Rick Rude went to school together, and in junior high school, we used to arm wrestle everybody in the cafeteria when we were kids, and we'd arm wrestle ice cream sandwiches, and you know, Rick was a hell of an arm wrestler in the day, and you know, and I took it off. You know, I went pro with it, and I ended up being the #1 ranked arm wrestler in the world and win the world championship. But it was something I loved, you know, and it was something that I was good at and growing up, and I took it as far as I could.
Man, and that's just Well, you're just a powerhouse. I mean, you can tell the arm wrestling in the background was just there, but your upper body is just phenomenal. Tell us a little bit about growing up a little bit and sort of getting into wrestling. I know you mentioned that in your book, but specifically working for your dad's company and how you got introduced to it.
Well, coming out of, as a kid, I always wanted to be with my dad, hang with him, work with him, and go to, concrete crew. It was something I really wanted to do, and working at a young age doing that, I got strong as hell, and it's just one thing led to another. I was a hell of an arm wrestler as a young guy, and I just blew everybody away at the beginning. And like I stated in the book, I won Minnesota championship, the 5-state championship. I go to the world title championship as a kid, 18 years old, and didn't do too good. But I learned my way around, and I actually broke in and went to camp with the Road Warriors, to Eddie Sharkey's camp.
Yes.
Nobody knows that. I didn't even mention, I really didn't mention that in the book or anything, but wrestling wasn't for me yet. I wanted to do my arm wrestling. I wanted some other things. So, my arm wrestling career was great. It was the Pinnacle was the biggest tournament ever. It's still the biggest tournament ever. The movie Over the Top was still on and everything. It was awesome. It was a great time for me.
Yeah, that was a great movie, and I guess it put in perspective for the fans out there, especially the younger fans out there. If you've never watched the movie with Sylvester Stallone, Over the Top, check it out. You'll get an idea of what Scott is actually talking about right now, because the movie probably fits it as perfectly as you can get. Is that not right?
Oh, absolutely. See, the thing about it is, now that, I do run into a lot of fans that, I never watched Over the Top. I just do check it out, And they get back to me on Facebook, man, that was awesome, it's cool. And it was cool, this is right when he was, the Rocky movies and First Blood. He was hot as hell. For him to do this movie Over the Top, it just sent us to a whole nother level, And it was cool meeting Sly and everything, and trying to be in a movie with the guy. It was kind of intimidating at the same time, as you read in the book.
Yeah. Well, it's just a time of your life that I know you'd never take a second back, and it's just something to be proud of. Tell me a little bit now. Don't spoil the book too much, but probably my favorite part of the book was talking about Road Warrior Hawk when you were in high school. What was a good little story you can tell us about Road Warrior Hawk and Scott Steiner in the early days?
Oh gosh, there's so many of them. Me and Mike, we started way back in 10th grade, and when I first met Mike, I thought it was good. I thought where to go.
Right.
As a matter of fact, Mike wanted to go, but it just, it didn't happen. Thank God, and we became best friends. And Mike was the most loyal buddy you could ever have. There's nobody that had your back like Mike. And the thing about it is, a lot of people can say that. Mike had a lot of friends. And he was a very popular guy in school, growing up and everything. And he was always there for you. You know what I mean? Like these stories in the book about Mike, there's hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And he was just, he was just a kind of a rowdy kid. We called him Hater, nicknamed him Hater. It wasn't Hawk, was Hater. And Mike, his buddies were his best buddies, and he took care of you. And, as he got into wrestling at his early, stages of his career, when I finally got into the business, it's like everybody knew me already anyways. Hawk, he always took care of you. He was the best promoter I ever had in my life. If he would have been the booker, I'd have. No, I'm not complaining about it.
Yeah, he made sure Scott Norton was over before Scott Norton got there.
Exactly. The first time I met Flair, he was like I already know you, man. I mean, Hawk sure is a good friend of yours, man. Mike was a special man. I mean, everybody loved Mike, and we had some great friends. I mean, he was a special with my family too. I mean, my dad and mom loved Mike, and there's stories, in high school, and Mike's mother passed away, and I mean, it almost killed me. I mean, I couldn't stand it because Hawk was so damn tough, and I knew it was killing him inside,
Mm-hmm.
and it was hurting me more than it was hurting him. It seemed like, I mean, I didn't. You loved the guy, man. He was such a friend, man. I mean, it's too bad right now. Like, we got WrestleCade coming up.
Right.
Could you imagine how much fun we'd have at WrestleCade? After the run's over and we all got to be able to get together when, I mean, and, Rick and Kurt also, these guys are just phenomenal guys.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's like these really great memories that could have happened, that are not. It's just sad. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know one good thing. If Mike was still living, bless his soul, I know he would be at WrestleCade because Road Warrior Animal, we have him there every year. I know for a fact.
Absolutely.
This year, when you and I may have an adult beverage in the Marriott Hotel, that Mike will be there with you, man. He'll be there with you.
Oh, he's always.
Absolutely.
Man, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember Joe said one time, Animal, he said there's one hell of a territory in heaven right now. And, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
We've been losing some really super great guys, and it's tough, and Hawk was he was a stud buddy, man. He's a hell of a guy.
And that's great, man. I love the friendship that you guys had in the book. And again, guys, we'll talk about the book later on, but if you hadn't got a copy of Strong Style, written by Scott Flash Norton, it just came out in May. So fans are missing the boat. You're not going to miss the boat in WrestleCade because I hear a little birdie told me you're going to have a couple of cases there. So,
and Scott, one of the questions I had for you, I know your career was awesome, but tell us about your time over in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh, brother, man, New Japan was first off was perfect for my style. It was a what they call strong style, which it fit me to a T. And it was just made for me. I fit it perfectly, and it fit me like a glove. And New Japan gave me a great opportunity when I was ready to get the call up, and they gave me a shot, and I took it, and it was awesome, brother. It was a great place to work. I was, in my career, I've been very fortunate. I mean, I started AWA. The AWA was kind of struggling that time. Then I went out to Portland for almost a year, and then I got the call from New Japan. And when I was in New Japan, I mean, every house was sold. Mm-hmm. Every show was. I mean, the place was just going crazy. It was on fire. And then finally, when I went to WCW,
yes.
And then here comes Nitro. I'm on the first Nitro with me and Mach, and that went nuts. I mean, so I'm working in front of houses. I never knew it was like to work at that house because we sold out everywhere we went. On both companies.
Right.
Well,
and.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but I just got to thinking about that Goldberg match that I put online the other night. Did you see that? As far as I know, I noticed you acknowledged it, but notice that Goldberg match that you had. Old Bill didn't treat you like he treated everybody else there. I mean, I understand it's a work and everything, but brother, that match is one of the best Goldberg matches I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, well, it's a respect there. I don't think people give Bill the credit he deserves. Sometimes Bill is everything he did in the ring was a squash, pretty much.
Yes.
Then he had to start going to the deep water and working longer matches, and you know, we were used to it. He, you know, he wasn't always, but he got there. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm not gonna, you know, I mean, we respect the day. I mean, Bill's a hell of a friend of mine,
Right.
and we respect each other greatly, and we're business, you know. And I mean, but no, we ain't gonna, you know, go out there and do a couple minute squash matches. No way, brother. I mean,
yeah, that just
I'm bringing it, you know.
Yeah, and then the only spot that just disturbed me a little bit is when he stood up on the suplex, but that's a Goldberg spot. I mean, you know.
Well, that's fine. I mean,
it's perfect
you
work.
know,
beautiful work.
Yeah, I mean, he did it with everybody, you know. So I mean, it wasn't like I was singled out or anything. I mean, you know, I was supposed to work Bill in Japan, and that'd have been a war, because I mean, as tight as we had it here, it'd have been 10 times tighter over there.
Oh my God!
Wow!
And,
I couldn't
you know,
imagine.
But yeah, we'd have left the body parts hanging around that one. But no, I mean, I liked working Bill. I thought, you know.
So what was your idea what was your thoughts, rather, when you went to WCW and they said, okay, Scott, you're NWO, go?
Well, when they came to me the deal about the NWO, I heard rumblings.
Right.
That down the road, the NWO was going to Japan. That's where I came in. And, you know, I see all these clips and everything on Facebook and all this NWO stuff, and, you know, I'm not there. Well, that's because of me and Jeff Farmer are over there on the other side.
And tell Jeff Farmer who Jeff Farmer is.
NWO Sting.
There you go.
And I'm telling you something, brother. We're main event every night. We sold. The merchandise was going out the door. Unbelievable. I mean, it was so big in Japan. When I first started wrestling New Japan, when I do a press conference at the airport, there'd be 20, 25 reporters. Mm-hmm. When me and Jeff took the NWO to Japan first time, when I got through customs and come into the airport, there was 400 or 500 reporters there. The whole damn airport was NWO black and white. Mm. And I'm going, what's going on here? They were going nuts. So I get to the hotel, Keo Plaza. The lobby is huge. All NWO. I said, this is crazy. Mm. I said, this is just awesome. So I go to my room, you know, I'm tired. I get some rest. I wake up in the morning, 6 o'clock, go downstairs to the buffet. A few people with NWO shirts are around down there. So we're leaving at 10 o'clock that day because we have about a 3-hour road trip. And you get to town, you know, first thing in the afternoon, you know, get situated and everything. I come out 10 o'clock to the lobby. The whole lobby is just jacked NWO. Wow. I couldn't believe it. So anyways, we got these touring buses in Japan that we travel on. They're enormous. They're beautiful. They're comfortable. They're top of the line. Well, they put a $50,000 NWO paint job on this damn thing.
Oh, wow.
And I just looked at the bus. I went, I just couldn't believe it. Mm. So anyways, the first night, we take the show, go to the first show. It was like I was in America. It was just Japanese people. It was crazy. And I mean, when we would leave the arena, I remember me and Brad Armstrong were leaving the arena one time, and Brad stood behind me, and he just grabbed the top of my shoulders. And we started getting squashed against the building. These people, and finally I just had I said, let's go. And I mean, I mean Joe Green did. I had to mow him. I just had to get to the bus, man. I mean, but it was just unbelievable the way the fans took off with this over there. So anyways, all the time that, you know, I missed here in the States with the NWO, I was doing it over there. And, you know, I get to explain that in my book and everything, you know, and everybody says, God, Scott, they didn't use it right in WCW. They didn't do this in WCW. Well, they did. They did have a good plan for me, and it was me and Buff, Vicious and Delicious.
Right, I remember.
But unfortunately, Buff broke his neck.
Right.
And, you know, me and Buff were getting over huge in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, we were to be, Buff was going to be busy in Japan. He didn't like it, but I loved it. So, I mean, I was very fortunate the way that the exposure I got with the NWO in Japan and here. I'm not complaining about a damn thing.
Right.
But, you know, New Japan and NWO was monstrous. And, you know, Eric was great. I mean, he took really good care of me. He understood that I was working 2 territories, and I mean, you know, guys said, "Man, you been on vacation?" I said, "Yeah, right."
And we're talking Bischoff. We're talking Bischoff now, Eric.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Eric's a good man. Eric was one of the better guys I ever worked for. I mean, you know, there's Masa Saito, who's the guy that was my, you know, I was very, very lucky to my paths cross with Masa Saito, because he's the guy that really pushed for me to get over in Japan, and he's the one that wanted, you know, got me booked there and gave, you know, put the rocket on me, and I answered the call. You know, I mean, it was a lot of work.
Speaking of answering the call, Scott, you answered the call for us at WrestleCade. The fans are going to see Scott Flash Norton come down that aisle one good time, go for that top rope belt Battle Royal championship. It's a beautiful belt, man. Randy Jackson top rope belts over the top rope Battle Royal. You're going to enter that Battle Royal. It's a spoiler alert for the BengeBuster show, but for the fans out there that don't know it, Scott Flash Norton is going to be in action at WrestleCade, bringing all that strong style along with NWO Sting, and they're both going to hit the ring, and they could be one of them two could be, and it could come down to the both of you, Scott. Who knows? It's professional wrestling.
Absolutely.
But who knows what can happen in that Battle Royal? And again, you could hold some championship gold, and it'd be all with WrestleCade and top rope belts, belt makers.
You know, I don't get in the ring often anymore, but when I do, I still like to win. So
that competitive spirit, that's what I want in that Battle Royal. Flash Norton, Tony, how you liking this so far, buddy?
Man, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Great stories. I love hearing you talk about Japan. That was always some of my favorite things to watch, because I mean, actually, before we go to the break, I want to ask Scott, whenever you were working in New Japan, who's your favorite guy to work with?
Yeah.
Oh, crying out loud! There's so many great. All right, like you got all these superstar wrestlers here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the same thing going on over there. You know, I had Muda, Hassan, Tengon. There's a zillion of them, you know?
Right.
I had some matches with Muda that are just unbelievable. I had some great tag matches. Me and Herc were Jurassic Powers over there. We squared up with the Steiners so many times it was crazy. And I'm talking matches that would have got over here so strong, it's unbelievable. But they just didn't do that style here. The Steiners are studs over there, brother.
Love me some Steiners.
Oh, brother.
Great guys.
Oh, yeah, but they don't get their just due, man. There's the Hall of Fame on them guys.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, just the phenomenal strength of Scotty with the amateur background of Ricky coming in there, man. Which is they're phenomenal.
Hey, let me tell you a good story.
All right.
Jeff Jarrett and Marcus Bagwell down in Orlando were in the pool. And Scott Steiner jumped in the pool, and this is NWO time. and Scotty starts drowning Buff and Jarrett. And I mean, he had one in one arm and one in the other.
Oh, God.
I said, Scotty, you're to kill him. You got to let him up. And Scotty wouldn't do it. He
No
just
way.
butts with him like a gorilla playing with a stuffed animal. So anyways, I said, Scotty, man, you got to let him up. So he let go of Marcus and Jarrett. Then he grabbed me by the ankle and yanked me in the pool.
Yeah.
Me and him went at it for about 20 minutes. And I'm telling you something. that dude is a monster, man. And yeah. But I tell you.
It's funny, man, because I can see that right now. I'm looking at a swimming pool as we speak. And I can just see Scott Norton and Scott
People are
Steiner.
standing around. It was like a main event. So then Scotty come up with this idea. The first one to dunk the other guy 3 times wins. Then we could stop this nonsense. So Scotty kept trying to go low on me and get me. And every time he did, I just mashed him right into the pool. And he come out of, he was hotter than fish grease. He was so freaking hot. So I'm up 2-0, and then he gets me once. And I thought he was trying to drown me. He wanted to end it right there.
All right.
So now I'm pissed. And so I stuck him big time. I got him and just folded him over. And, everybody was kind of they didn't realize, they didn't think anybody could do that to Scotty. And believe me, it was because he was coming in low.
Right.
So the next day, me and Beg were getting ready to wrestle the Steiner brothers. And here comes Scotty walking to the locker room, and Iron Anderson goes, he says, Scotty, if you didn't drink too much of the pool last night, he says, put Norton over in about 8 minutes. Here comes Scotty, man. He's charging me. Oh, my brother, the dude was crazy. I says, Iron, I gotta go out there and wrestle this madman now. You looked at him in there, and he looked bigger than he ever looked.
He still looks bigger than he ever looked. Hey, just a quick one before we go to break, man. I'm a ring announcer now for a lot of the organizations around the independent organizations, but the last match that I did with Scott Steiner in the main event, he beat Buff Bagwell in the main event, and just as dizzy as I could be that night for some reason, I said, "Here is your winner, Rick Steiner."
Oh gosh,
brother! He goes, "Why did you say my brother won?" Look, and that's all he said to me in the back. He wasn't hot or anything, but I was so nervous of going in the back with him, man.
But you see, the thing about it is, you don't know where he's going with that. It's just, I seen Scotty one time. He pulled a photographer over that did the 8x10 for WCW, and he told him, he says, "I told you not to use that shot." And the guy, he says, "I don't remember that." He says, "I remember telling you. You telling me I'm lying to you?" And I says, "God, this dude needs to get out of here." I know when Scotty starts getting worked up, brother, and and Scotty, then he started telling everybody. I remember telling him, I said, "I hope that guy's gone." I hope he gets that. Better eat this morning. Scott is man's man, brother. A good dude, too. I love Scotty.
Love him to death, man. He'll be there at WrestleCade right there with you as well. So sorry to hold you up, Scotty, but like I said,
no worries.
We'll come back. Hey, we're going to talk about the book and where to find Scott Norton online and where to buy that book. And again, this is the BengeBuster Show, folks. Look it up anywhere on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube.
We've been talking about his great wrestling career, and now we're going to talk about his great book that he has put out. Scott, tell us more about your book. When was your book released?
It was released earlier this year. I think it was April, May.
Yep.
And it's doing great, man. It's pretty cool. It's been a long haul. It's taken quite a while. It's something that don't happen overnight. And I've been working on it for 4 or 5 years. And we finally got her, and it's doing well. Everybody's enjoying the book. I'm getting great feedback on it. you know, I was very fortunate. I grew up with a lot of guys in the business. You know, I was kind of a wild guy myself, kind of crazy. You know, I've had a lot of great experiences, a lot of great stories, and I'm so proud of this book. I mean, it's turned out fantastic. Adam Randus, the guy that authored the book, you know, wrote it for me, was phenomenal. He's quite a bit younger guy than I am, but he's a big time fan of mine. That he has everything I ever done in professional wrestling, chronological laid out, tapes, interviews, everything.
Beautiful.
So it was a great help. So it's a very thorough book of my career, my life, model, you know, and you know, it's pretty exciting. You know, I mean, the North Korean chapter, the Ice Road Chucker chapter, you know, my World Arm Wrestling Championship stuff. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
Fans, if you don't get a chance to get a copy of this book, you're really missing out, especially if you're a Scott Norton fan. I mean, again, it's 2019, man. You got to read back and just start from the beginning of Scott's life and then just read it on through, and you'll thoroughly be entertained. I endorse it 100%. I've read it, and again, like I said, I've started over with it just because I need to. It keeps my mind occupied with positive things, and that's one thing about this book, fans. It's Scott is so positive, and that's something, you know, you buy a wrestling autobiography of a wrestler, or you buy a story about a wrestler, and you read the book, and there's a lot of dark, deep things in professional wrestling, and I didn't read that in this book. I mean, yeah, you talked about the death of your father and certain things that needed to be said, but the book is not dark at all. The book is very entertaining. It's a book that I wouldn't be afraid to give a 14-year-old kid to read. It's just phenomenal. Where can we find that book, Scott, if we didn't know?
Okay, if you want a signed copy, get it at ScottFlashNorton.com. And then you can get it on Amazon, and you can always come out to the WrestleCade and get you a copy there signed, and we'll have a blast, man. I always spend time talking with the fans, and they come there for a reason, and I'm going to make them feel good about it. You know, if they want to come and see me, they're going to talk to me, and we're going to have a blast, man. And, you know, the book is I was very fortunate to have a great career, a great run. I put a lot into it. I worked through some stuff that a lot of guys won. I started a little later than most every other guy, so, I mean, I was worried about not being able to keep my position in the companies that I worked for, and I did some crazy stuff. You know, I mean, I pushed through. I remember Scott Hall one time says I would be getting airlifted home if I was hurt that bad, and you know, I mean, I didn't miss a match. I wrestled 3 weeks with it, so it's something. You know, I mean, it's a great story. It's the truth about a guy that loved wrestling, was very fortunate, I was in the right place, the right time a lot, had people help me. I mean, and I get a chance to thank them and respect them and show them my appreciation for what they did for me as a young guy growing up and trying to find my way. And that's one of the greatest things about this book, you know, is I get to pay my dues to people that, you know, helped me along and were really, you know, good to me, and means a lot to me. I mean, I've had so many people feedbacks on it.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
You give so much props to everybody in that book. I mean, if I could say one word about the Scott Norton book and the way it's presented, is humbleness. I think you're so humble that you appreciate everything that's ever happened to you. You know,
it's a rough business, man. I mean, it's hard. It's a hard business. I mean, you got to get through it. You got to pay your dues. You got to work your ass off. You got to stay with it. And there's a lot of negative times.
Yes.
And you know, like the last chapter of the book, you know, wrestling's gonna be hell. It can be, but I mean, it's what you make of it. It's what you learn from it. It's how you move forward. And, you know, I mean, I look back and I smile. I just said, God dang it, man. You know, I mean, I remember shows in Japan that were just huge. And, you know, I mean, it was my territory. It was I was the guy there, and it was so special. They gave me such an opportunity, man.
Yeah.
And when they put it on you, when they give you this, you know, they don't give it to you. You got to earn the damn thing.
Yeah.
But when you get there, and I remember Masa telling me, he said, Scott, I need you to be a monster inside and outside of the ring. I said, Masa, I'm not going to try to get over on these fans by treating them bad and be mean to them and just be this rough. I mean, I'll show you when I'm in the ring. It's 100%. I'm gonna do my thing, and they're gonna see a powerhouse go to work. And I did that. But outside of the ring, I treated these people with respect. Fans, I would go out and sign before every match, and they're just blown away. They go, Scott, you know, I said, don't worry about it. And I did it my way over there. It's kind of a good song, right? But but no kidding. I mean, I really did, you know, and the fans got with me, and I mean, they appreciated that. And I mean, today, I just got back from Japan about a month ago.
Yep.
And it was just awesome. I mean, we did Corrigan Hall, got a huge pop from them, and all these fans, and I'm just sitting there, I was in the ring, and I'm just going like, Chono, remember him? Yeah, remember him? You know, Tenzan, look at these guys. They're a kid, you know. They're just older. It was awesome, you know. I mean, so, I mean, it's just a great place to work, and I had a great run. And, you know, I want to be humble about, you know, you don't do it by yourself, and it's a hard job. It's a hard business. My wife was great through my whole career. You know, I had a good relationship with my, you know, home was important to me. I just made it through, you know, and it's a tough place to work, you know, and it's a hard existence. This wrestling business, everybody thinks it's all fun games, but
it's dark.
It's a grind.
Yeah.
It can be. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I didn't have some times in my wrestling career that were hard and weren't the best of times.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not gonna harp on it. I'm not gonna, you know, use it as an excuse. I always push through, and you know, you got to. You just got to keep fighting. You know, you got to keep putting your best foot forward, and you know, and it's a great business. And now, what we get to do as these guys that are getting older, you know, the geezers, they're old farts now. It's awesome we get to go to WrestleCade. It's awesome we get to get in the ring. We get to mix with the fans, and they get to ask all the questions and stories about you. And, you know, the questions, and, you know, I'm going back up to Minneapolis. I haven't been up in Minneapolis for a long time. And I'm so excited about that. You know what I mean?
Hometown.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's going to be fun. I'm going up in Fargo, North Dakota. I love the Midwest. It just, you know, I mean, my career took me basically to Atlanta, and, you know, I made a home in Atlanta for a long time. I live in Houston now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, it's just a trip. You know, we move around, and, you know, you're always on the road, whatever, but it's great when we get to do what we get to do now, you know, and the fans are just awesome.
Well, you're going to get to do what you're going to get to do at WrestleCade, and more than to get you there, man, to have you there, to have. I mean, I can't wait to see the line in front of Scott and Norton's table. Because I'm telling you, we're going to have a huge.
Let me tell you something, brother.
You're the one. You're the one.
You're one of the coolest guys in our. And I mean, I appreciate people like you that help us with these events, and you're working your ass off all year long to get this going. I know you are.
Yes, sir.
And it's awesome for us. And you know what it's like. You've been around. how many years did you work?
Like 29, 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't act like you don't, you paid your dues in this, brother. It's just awesome what you do, man.
Oh, we appreciate you, man. We really, really do appreciate you. Scott, thank you so much for your time tonight. I don't want to take up another second of your time because I know you're a busy man.
Brother.
But, brother,
hey.
The time you gave the Binge Buster show tonight is much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
Again, if there's anything you ever need, don't hesitate to give us a call. We're here for you. Your ticket's on the way to you, man. We're just glad to have you here again. Scott Flash Norton. Any last remarks, Tony, for the Flash?
Yeah, I just got one question because, Tim, you know how I like to eat. So Scott, I have a question, and I've always wondered this. So I know you've been there a lot, so I know you can probably tell me. But how good is the food at the Ribeira Steakhouse?
Oh my God, brother! My picture's right above Bill Goldberg's outside of that place.
Oh, nice.
And I'm telling you something. Yeah, it's awesome. The Ribeira Steakhouse has got a history to it. They take care of us so good.
Mm-hmm.
These steaks are phenomenal.
Wow.
I think I had 4 last time I was there, and it was just
oh, nice.
Oh no, because it's a unique steak. It's served on a cast iron hot plate, sizzling like a son of a gun, and it's just there's not a steakhouse on this planet that I've ever eaten more than the Bears.
Wow.
And I lived right down the street from Longhorns in Atlanta, and I ate there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Ribeira's is phenomenal, brother. I just absolutely loved it. Hey, I know one thing. When I get to the Carolinas now, I need to find out about these pulled pork sandwiches there with the
brother,
coleslaw and everything, right?
Hey, I'll have you one waiting on you if you want it.
Tim, you got to take him to Henry James. They got the best.
Henry James barbecue, barbecue, man, brother, we'll get you all the barbecue you can eat.
See, that's I love that. That's awesome. We gotta have a couple cold ones and sit down and just chew the fat, man. Have a good time.
Yes,
I am so looking forward to it.
Well, thank you. We're looking forward to it too, Scott. Again, you can find Scott Norton at scottflashnorton.com. You can get the book Strong Style today. Very good price on the book. He'll get you an autographed copy of it. If you can't get it online, then be there at WrestleCade. Get your ticket at WrestleCade.com. Today, there's a special section where you can go straight to Scott Norton's picture, and you can go ahead and get your ticket in line to get the auto. You can get the book. Of course, you can get the autograph. You can get a photo opportunity with your own camera. Whatever you need to do, Scott Norton is there to answer any questions for you at WrestleCade. He's excited to be there. Have you heard, fans? And Scott, again, thank you so much for being on tonight's Binge Buster show.
Hey, you guys are awesome, and thank you so much. I am so looking forward to that show, and it should be a great weekend, and it's just it's going to be a blast, man. We're gonna have a ride.
All right. Well, thank you again, Scott. You have a great night. And again, Scott Flash Norton, catch him on the Binge Buster show.
WrestleCade Weekend returns to Winston-Salem, November 29th, 30th, and December 1st. Meet your favorite wrestling stars. Experience live wrestling events all 3 days. Shop for your favorite wrestling merch and more. Join us for family-friendly fun for wrestling fans of all eras during WrestleCade Weekend, November 29th, 30th, and December 1st. All goes down at the Benton Convention Center in Winston-Salem. Tickets and info at WrestleCade.com.
All right, fans, what a great show with Scott Flash Norton, and I'm back now with my main man, Red Hot Tim Blaze. Tim, what'd you think about that great interview with Scott Flash Norton?
Man, Tony, I'm telling you, Scott Norton is great. I'm talking, he went way above the expectations of what we wanted there, but such an honor to have him on the show. What do you think?
Man, I say so also, Tim. I mean, he had, the Scott Steiner stories in itself was awesome.
he's just an amazing individual, and you get to see him at WrestleCade, and I can't wait for Scott Flash Norton, NWO Scott Norton, to be at WrestleCade. He's going to be bringing his book, several copies of his book, so you can get it autographed on the spot. You can take it home and you can read it before the weekend's over and appreciate it more. And it's just one of those things that's just an honor to have Scott Norton part of WrestleCade.
Yeah, I mean, the guests just keep getting bigger and bigger every week as WrestleCade announces new guests coming. Tim, we got any spoilers this week for the fans?
Well, I have a spoiler, but I can't give it quite yet. I think we'll save the spoiler that I have for this week for next week.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Now, there is something new that's been added. I think you may have noticed we didn't talk about it last week because it just hadn't been confirmed yet, but the Dirty Details Tour with Jake the Snake Roberts and Hacksaw Jim Duggan is now part of WrestleCade weekend.
Oh, man, that's great.
So there's another opportunity. This will be after the AML show on Sunday. Jake the Snake Roberts will be coming into the ringside area, and that's when we'll open the doors for the Dirty Details Tour. You get your tickets on the spot. I'll be there, so we'll take care of everything at the door for you for the fans that want to take care of seeing that night of professional wrestling stories, road stories, just crazy stuff. It is definitely PG rated. Would not recommend it for little buddy out there, if you know what I mean. But it's going to be a great time for those adult fans that want to sit back, relax, and enjoy just one last time of WrestleCade weekend. It's the very last thing that's going to happen over the weekend.
And I'm telling you, fans, I have been in the locker room multiple times with Jake Roberts, and his stories are amazing. And sometimes you'll sit there and scratch your head and be like, what? Are you kidding me? But, man, I'm telling you, it's well worth it. Jake is an awesome individual. Hacksaw Jim Duggan as well. I'm looking forward to that myself.
Yeah, and I hope he tells the Rick Rude's wife story when he's on stage, because that's just hilarious. If anybody's ever heard it, look that up on YouTube if you get a chance. Speaking of YouTube, Tony, we need some fans on YouTube to hit that subscribe button and also to hit that like button for the Binge Buster Show. We're going to keep expanding. We're on all platforms right now. Again, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube. What else? What other platforms can I find the Binge Buster Show on?
Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play. I mean, we're all over Binge Buster Show. I'm very proud of this show. It started out as just a little thing I wanted to do on the side, and then once I got into it, it became a passion, and I brought in my cohort, my co-conspirator, Tim Blaze, and we have really kicked up the notch on this show. Each and every week, Tim brings us new and more exciting guests each week. And this week, we're not going to tell you who the special guest is going to be, but I can assure you he was a big star in the wrestling business.
Oh, you're talking about next week's show. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about next week's guest that's going to be it. But before you say anything, he is just privileged to be on the show. He's going to talk about anything we need. And fans, what's your email address, Tony, for the Binge Buster Show?
The Binge Buster Show is TonyBinge74 at hotmail.com. You go onto that email address. If you want to email me and ask me any questions about the show, do so. But more importantly, the best way to ask questions for the upcoming shows is to go on our Facebook page, like the Binge Buster Show Facebook page, and there's a spot on there where you can comment and ask questions. And Tim and I would love for you fans to start asking us questions. We love to answer questions. No question will go unanswered. Tim and I will do our best to answer them. Unless there are questions about Rizats, we have to leave that out because of future endeavors. But anyway.
Hey, and another thing as well, if the fans start asking questions, we'll have to start doing spoiler alerts on who the next week's guest is. But for right now, give them some hints or clues for some of the people out there that may have an idea of who next week's guest will be.
Well, next week's guest, fans, is a tag team specialist. This man has held multiple tag team titles in different federations. He was a former NWA United States Tag Team Champion, former World Class Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champion, and man, what better person to have on the podcast since at WrestleCade this year we're going back to the Sportatorium.
That's right, World Class Championship Wrestling. So he was part of that. What other titles or hints could you give the fans of the BengeBuster show about this next week's guest?
And the last I'm going to give you is still talking about titles. He was also one half of the Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions. And all you fans here in the South knows that when Smoky Mountain Wrestling started up, it was like going back to the glory days of Jim Crockett Promotions. And I'm telling you, this guy was a big star in Jim Crockett Promotions. He was a star everywhere you went. Great tag team wrestler. And I'm telling you, and for you wrestlers out there, aspiring wrestlers, if you're ever on a show with this guy, I highly recommend pulling up a seat next to him in the locker room, because I'm telling you, he will smarten you up. He will teach you stuff that you didn't even think about, because he's done the same. He's done that for Tim and I multiple occasions. So I'm telling you, fans, you don't want to miss next week's show.
He calls the I'll give one last hint. I wrestled this man in Oakville, West Virginia in 1998, I believe. And that's close to my hometown. Oakville is very, very close to Bluefield, Princeton, West Virginia. And we almost caused a riot. We announced me from being from Oakville, the school that we went to. It almost caused a riot, but that was just a very special time in my life. So that's next week, fans. Be ready for that. Definitely throw some more hints out there online on Facebook and on social media throughout the week.
Yeah, it's going to be good, fans. And one of the surprises that we're talking for all the BengeBuster fans on our Facebook page, you go on there and like it. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be announcing a contest. If any of you fans out there want to be at WrestleCade and be right there and see Tim and I in action and all the other great stars, we're going to give you the opportunity.
That's right. Chances coming up here in the next coming weeks. When WrestleCade gets here, there will be a lucky fan out there that may have a couple of comp tickets in their hand. And it's going to be a great time. Great time, Tony.
We're looking forward to it, Tim. Tim, thank you again for all your hard work on the show, and I know WrestleCade is going to be a huge hit again this year. The stars just keep getting bigger and bigger every week, and by the time WrestleCade comes here, it's Winston-Salem's not going to be the same.
No, it's not. It's not. We'll turn it upside down like we do every single year. And I think Tracy Myers just takes a great part of his time to make sure this is a very special deal with the fans.
Yes, Tracy is an amazing person. Tim, just like this past weekend, we had a little situation, and Tim stepped up and made it a wonderful situation.
Okay. What happened there?
Well, didn't at one of the shows when one of the talents decided to not show up.
Oh no!
Tim
Yeah, we got to put that out there. Okay, so we're about to wrap this up, fans. But I do want to do a public service announcement. Why did you get me started on this, Tony? I wasn't going to shoot a promo on anybody today, but anyway.
Well, hey, this is the BengeBuster show. We are busting all the people. We don't care.
All right, fans. PSA, public service announcement right now. We book a lot of wrestlers, okay? We book a shit ton of wrestlers, okay? A lot of wrestlers, and we've been doing it for a long time now. And I think that we have earned the respect to at least get what we need done taken care of. And I'll leave this at this. Anytime a wrestler's booked and they get, if they need a deposit, we'll send them a deposit, no problem. We'll get them the airline ticket, we'll get them the hotel room. We'll take care of them. We'll feed them grapes, Tony. Okay?
That's right.
We'll feed them grapes. But when a talent decides that our championship title at AML is not good enough to showcase their talent in the way that we need them to showcase it, and decide that the baggage, I guess, at the airport in Charlotte is more important, which is only like an hour away when you came all the way from Florida or whatever the case is. But if you decide that your gimmicks are more important at the airport and that the fans are not as important as they used to be to you, then I don't think that you should be used in the area, and I don't think fans deserve to be taken advantage of. There was a lot of people at that school over the weekend, and there was a lot of them probably disappointed, but they weren't disappointed in the show because the show went on and the show was tremendous. Lex Luger was there, a tremendous person. I love Lex. He was a great benefit to the show. The fans, he enjoyed the fans enjoyed him. But the other counterpart of that show that was not part of the show, I'm really glad that they weren't there because they'll never be booked again with our organization. But anyway, stepping off the soapbox, man, I guess that was the. Wow, why'd you put me there, man? I'm on the soapbox now.
Man, Tim,
it's a great day, though. It's a positive day. It's a positive day. It's going to be that way.
You know me, Tim. I'm always a heel, and if I can get some heat, I like to get some heat, brother.
I hear you. Well, that was a tremendous show. That was probably one of the best AML shows ever. Central Davidson High School. Let me get the area right there because I get confused sometimes on that. Tracy knows all about that. But, and hats off to Tracy Myers and the AML crew. The WrestleCade crew put it together once again this weekend. And, again, we'll do it again next month as well. Double weekend, I believe, Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I was about to ask before we close the podcast, where can the fans find the next AML show?
That's going to be at the end of the month, October. It's going to be at the AML Wrestling Training Center in Winston-Salem on Cherry Street. Fans look it up on Facebook, AMLWrestling.com, or you can go to the AML Wrestling Network over PitchShare, or you can go to highspots.com and find anything you can on AML Wrestling to be in a city near you.
Sounds good. Well, Tim, thanks again. Fans, we will see you next week on the Binge Buster Show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another exciting edition of the Binge Buster Show. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and like us on all platforms. We're on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Spotify. Join us each week, fans.